What up, witches? I'm Jen.
I'm Candi. This is the Cornfield Coven.
All right, it's a bonus episode.
Woo!
Happy Valloween, everyone.
Right.
When Valentine's Day falls on a Saturday, it is always preceded by a Friday the 13th. This very special Friday the 13th is known as Valloween or Galentine's Day.
I love it.
So, because this is a bonus episode, we're straying a little bit from the normal format. Candi and I are both going to be presenting today, and we're going to travel a little outside the Midwest.
A little, yeah.
Just a little. All right, so we're going to start off with the history and a few fun facts about Friday the 13th. And to do that, we're traveling all the way outside of the Midwest back to Norse mythology. So Balder the Good was a son of Odin, chief of the gods, and Frigg. He was a happy god who brought joy to all who knew him. And Balder started having dreams of something really tragic happening to him, and it was very upsetting to him. And, he was the happy god, so that wasn't good. Odin and Frigg were very concerned about the effect this was having on him. So Odin went to Hel in disguise, and he sought out a seer who revealed that something terrible was indeed on the horizon for Balder. Frigg, who wanted to protect her son, took oaths from every entity in the cosmos not to harm Balder. So then the other gods made a game of throwing weapons and sticks and rocks at Balder and laughing as they all bounced away harmlessly. One day, when 12 gods were joined for a nice feast, Loki, the god of mischief and disorder, the trickster, appeared as the uninvited 13th guest. Now, watching the game, Loki tricked Frigg into telling him that she had not obtained an oath from mistletoe because it just seemed so innocuous. Loki took that immediately, and he went and grabbed some mistletoe and sharpened it into a spear. He approached the blind god, Hodor, and said, "It's not fair that you don't get to participate in the game. Let me help you." So Loki helped Hodor aim the mistletoe spear, and Hodor let it fly, which killed Balder instantly. This was a foretold precursor of Ragnarok, so it sucked on a lot of levels.
So wait a minute. Mistletoe. Isn't that Christmas, though?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
So it can be used multiple times now.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. Keep going. I'm like, wait a minute.
It's in all sorts of things.
I love that.
Okay, so then in Christianity, Judas, the apostle who betrayed Jesus, is viewed as the 13th guest at the Last Supper. It was Jesus and his 12 apostles, Judas being the last one. Also, Jesus was crucified on a Friday. So possibly because of either or both of those, some people believe that if 13 people dine together, one of them will die within a year.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to fast forward a couple millennia. We're still not in modern times, but, we're getting there. We are with King Philip IV of France. He was called Philip the Fair to, I don't know, probably just himself because, yeah. He was deeply in debt to the Knights Templar. He really liked to start unnecessary wars, so he had taken out a lot of loans from the Templars to fund them. So he figures, if I wipe them out, not only do I wipe out my debt, but I can steal their considerable wealth as well. He's a dick. Yeah. Apparently a year before that, he had kicked all the Jews out of France because he'd been in debt to them too. Bag of dicks.
I was just gonna say he sounds like a real dick.
Yeah. So anyway, he figured he'd charge the Templars with heresy, crimes against the church, a whole bunch of other made up shit. And he wrangled Pope Clement V, who knew full well that the Templars were innocent, but feared being the new subject of Philly's wrath, into helping him. On Friday, October 13th, 1307, hundreds of Knights Templar were arrested and tortured. Some were tortured into confessing, then killed. Some were tortured and then killed because they wouldn't confess. So, everybody loses here, except for Phil.
Except for Phil.
But we're getting there. Though the Templars as an organization were effectively wiped out on this day, some were imprisoned and tortured for years, such as the Grand Master, Jacques de Molay. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm really sorry if I'm not, Jacques, because you sounded badass. He was slowly burned to death 7 years later, but from the flames, he recanted his false confession and cursed both the king and the pope. And both of those dicks were dead within a year.
Jeez.
Yeah.
They deserved it.
Okay, I have a few fun little facts about Friday the 13th, and then we'll move on to Valentine's Day. The first one, and I'm going to try real hard here. Triskaidekaphobia is the fear of the number 13. That one wasn't so bad. Paraskivadecatriophobia, that was harder, is the fear of Friday the 13th. In Spanish-speaking countries, it's actually Tuesday the 13th, or Martes el 13, that is bad luck because Martes is associated with Mars, the Roman god of war and destruction. Go ahead.
Oh, I was kind of putting it all together, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
And then in Italy, it's actually the number 17 that is unlucky because the Roman numerals for 17, which are XVII, can be rearranged to spell VIXI, which means my life is over in Latin. I thought that was interesting. I knew about Martes el 13, but I did not know about 17 being bad luck in Italy.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. This is very educational.
We're here to serve.
We are here to serve. Yeah.
So lastly, June 13th is the birthday of Jason Voorhees, the hockey mask wearing, machete toting slasher from 90% of the Friday the 13th franchise. And it is also my birthday.
Oh, see, he's the original Mama's Boy too. So,
Yeah, he was.
I love that.
All right. And that, my witches, is Friday the 13th. So let's get on to Valentine's Day. We're going to go way back again. It all starts with an ancient Roman feast called Lupercalia, which was celebrated from February 13th to the 15th. This was educational to me, and this is real graphics, so enjoy. During this feast, the men would kill a dog and a goat, and then whip women with the dead animal hides. The women lined up for this fun, as they believed it would make them fertile. I think I'd just be like, yeah, babies aren't for me, y'all. No, I'm good.
I was going to say, no thanks. No thanks.
Yeah. Then men would draw a woman's name from a jar and they would, quote unquote, hook up for the rest of the festival.
I can't.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to move on. We will pull Lupercalia back in later, but for now, I think we've all had enough of that shit.
Oh my gosh. This just reminds me of like, oh gosh, the gypsies. Anyways, TLC. But like when they go out to meet, the gypsies will go out there and snatch a young girl, and then all of a sudden, like, that's their lady. It's like, can you at least
Yeah.
ask her name first? Anyways.
Or,
Wow.
permission. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Ay, ay, ay. Okay.
All right. So now we're going to talk about the legend of Saint Valentine. And this starts with another dick. Roman Emperor Claudius II, or Claudius the Cruel. At least, his name is a little bit better than fair. So like King Philip, who wouldn't start his shenanigans for a whole nother millennium, Claudius really loved a useless war, or 10. So he needed a lot of soldiers, and he was just aghast that men were not volunteering to go die for his delusional glory. He thought that couldn't possibly be the case, and it must be that these men didn't want to leave their wives and families. So he just outlawed marriage, thinking this would immediately resolve his problem. Totes,
Oh,
dude.
because it's not him, it's everybody else.
Exactly. Narcissism.
Yeah.
So a priest named Valentine, he thought this was pretty bogus, and he continued to perform marriages for young couples in love. When Claudius found out about this, he realized the error of his ways, embraced love through Valentine's insight, and declared him a saint.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm kidding. I don't know what you think you're listening to, but this is not the Hallmark Channel. Sorry, Betsy.
Oh.
So yeah,
I'm waiting
no.
for more.
Claudius had Valentine arrested, beaten to death with clubs, and then beheaded on February 14th, circa 270. And it is rumored that Valentine left a note signed "From your Valentine" in his cell for the jailer's daughter whom he had befriended. Valentine was later named a saint.
Wow.
So that's the legend. But being that this happened, roughly 1800 years ago, there's not a lot of historical records, but there's a few things that we can look at. History does suggest that Claudius really did kill 2 and possibly 3 men named Valentine in the 3rd century, possibly on February 14th. And at least one of them was a priest in Rome and another was a bishop in Italy. So part of the story tracks. In 496, Pope Gelasius declared Valentine a saint, though he did implicate even at that time that there was very little record of this legend. And he declared that February 14th would be celebrated with the feast of St. Valentine's Day. Now, that's great, and, that is real. But to be honest, the church was doing what it had done many times before. They wanted to get rid of the pagan feast of Lupercalia. That's not a church thing. They don't want them celebrating that, but they don't want a full-on revolt either. So they need to ease the transition. And giving them the St. Valentine's Day feast was a way of transitioning them into a church-sanctioned festival instead of, their dirty pagan deeds.
Those dirty pagans.
Dirty pagans. All right. By the way, Candi and I do not think that all pagans are dirty or anything. If you are a pagan, we fully support your right to be a pagan.
I was gonna say, as a recovering, almost said alcoholic, as a recovering Catholic, I thank pagans for their ways that they lived, and Catholics church took them and changed them. Anyways, that's a whole nother episode. But yes.
Okay, well, I will turn it over to you, Candi, for some goodies.
So, as Jen gave us history, I'm going more down the tortured love stories of past. And so I found 2 ghostly love stories of some young ladies whose fate did not turn out as happily ever after. So, as I start out, February brings chocolate, roses, and declarations of eternal love. But beneath all that Valentine's romantic gush lurks a darker truth that folklore has preserved for centuries. Love can be deadly. As Valentine's approaches, it's worth remembering that love has always been a double-edged sword. The folklore surrounding romance doesn't seek to make us cynical. Rather, it offers the wisdom generations who understood that our capacity for connection is our greatest gift and our greatest vulnerability. But these warnings exist not to discourage love, but to help us love more wisely. So, the first young lady that I'll introduce you to is Mary Jane Key, who went by Minnie. And she's from right here in the Midwest in Michigan. And so her story is one of heartbreak. And Minnie, her full name was Mary Jane, like I had said, but she had went by Minnie with her family. She was the firstborn to her father James and mother Mary Ann. She was their only daughter at this time. They lived in a busy lumbering town of Forester, Michigan. Minnie was 15 at the time. I don't know if you remember when you were 15, but everything was a little more dramatic. Everything was a little more emotional.
We're all the
And
Disney princesses throwing
you,
ourselves onto staircases face down.
yes, yes, everything was life ending. So Minnie, like I said, Minnie was 15 at the time, and they lived on the water by the port of where the lumbering ships would come in. People from town were known to come down and watch the ships and sit and have coffee and chat. This was 1876, so there wasn't TV or cell phones. So watching life go by and the ships were their entertainment. Plus, when the fishermen would come in from these ships, they could get news from the outside world and what was going on, plus get supplies and stuff like that. So, like many young girls in the ports, they would come down looking their best to watch the ships come in, and she fell in love with one of those sailors who visited the area. She would walk the
Oh.
piers waiting for his ship to come in and see him. Minnie had given this young man her heart. This is what I find kind of weird. No one quite knows for sure what his name was, but the relationship was greatly disapproved of in the town.
Ooh.
Especially by her parents. Now, her
Now it's
parents,
forbidden and it's even more
now,
exciting.
exactly. Her parents thought she could do better. Many in town warned her about this affair. Her own mother often yelled out loud where others could hear that she would rather see her dead than with this man. Minnie's parents did not want their daughter carrying on with a sailor, and they forbid her to see him again. But Minnie couldn't see life without him. She was a 15-year-old in love. So, in early spring of 1876, word came back to Michigan that this ship had gone down in the Great Lakes to a watery grave.
Oh
Minnie
no.
was
I
torn.
knew, like, I kept thinking she is going to be one of those ghosts that wanders the cliffside waiting for her lost love from the sea to
Ding,
return.
ding, ding. I almost wonder if she's related to Jenny Greenteeth because this kind of makes
Ooh.
me. But it says she was torn and angry, and she was pissed at her parents because they hadn't allowed her to say goodbye the last time he set sail and he had left town. They had trapped her in the house and said, "You cannot see him." So she was utterly heartbroken. Her true love was gone, dead at sea and never returning. Life was done. She was pissed. I mean, I remember being 15 and my parents saying, "You can't see that boy." And I was like hell I can't. And then having a daughter, well, I got lucky. She didn't ever pull that crap. But I mean, she brought her boyfriend home and I haven't let him leave yet. So we love him. But so anyways, a few days later, on April 27th, her parents gave her charge, aka told to babysit, to watch her younger brother James, who was an infant. As infant James was sleeping, Minnie left him walked into town and passed by the town inn, which is called the Tanner House. So, of course, like in the 80s and 90s of the barbershop, everybody's sitting out front, having their coffee, smoking their cigarettes, and chatting. The young girl, as she walked by, everybody waved. So, as she goes by, the onlookers watched as she walked over to the pier. And I guess this pier led up to a cliff. And so she walked up to it, looked over at the crowd, and leapt into the water. It said, suddenly their faces turned into faces of horror as she went into Lake Huron. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. The water was icy cold. I couldn't imagine jumping into water. I have a hard time going into the pool if it's below 70, so I couldn't imagine. She was, after it took, how did they say this? Because I didn't write this part down. People instantly jumped up trying to get help, but it took them over 3 hours to find her body in that cold water. And when they found her, she was buried in the Forester Cemetery on the north end of town. But most say she does not rest in peace. So the north end is the other side of where the water is, and she didn't want to be there. So legend says that her ghost has been seen walking along the shore of Lake Huron near Forester. She is said to cry mournfully for the spirit of her lost love, for whom she seeks, but never finds. More frightening versions say she lures young girls towards the water and towards their deaths. Over the years,
Ooh, that's kind of siren-y.
Right? It's like she doesn't want to be alone. It's like, hey girls, come chill at the water with me.
But also, like, you made your choices, chick. I'm not
Right?
feeling it.
Right? Others reported that Minnie has beckoned them from the icy waters as if inviting them to join her. It is even said that one girl drowned after claiming that she saw Minnie one night. Suicide? Maybe, or simply the invitation of a ghost who is lonely and of her watery despair. But it's said that she sits there and waits by the shore for her true love, who just has never come. And also, my other thing is, she committed suicide after hearing the ship was gone, not waiting to see if it was a valid thing. Because I could see her parents being like, hey, girl, the ship went down. He's gone. Move on. Here's the
Right.
next neighbor boy from up the road. But
Also, like, this is the 19th century. How
right,
is word traveling about this right
right.
now? Not super
Oh,
reliable. Also, can you imagine spending eternity hung up on the guy that you were hung up on when you were 15?
and
That
it's the only guy. There could have been somebody out there better. I mean, I know. Yeah, there's better. I remember my first love, and yeah, there's better. Um, so the next tale of woe, of true love woe, this one comes from Mexico, and this tale um is of Anna, Carmen, and Carlos, and they have other names also. So when I was looking them up, um, it's in one book, The Scary Book of Valentine Lore by Tim
Ooh.
Rayburn. I love his books. There's Christmas ones, there's Valentine ones. I mean, there's all different, there's Halloween ones, but fabulous. But in his book, it's Donna Carmen and Don Luis. But when I also look it up, it's Anna Carmen and Carlos. And I went with the Anna version because that's my grandmother's name. So I thought, oh, I'm going to go that route. But, anyways, this
That's fun.
tale of woe, will sound very familiar. And this is one of my favorite stories. It was also part of my wedding. So it was like, ooh, I'm going with it. So, anyways, this failed young love has become a Mexican lore favorite. In Guanajuato, I know I said that wrong and I apologize, Mexico. In this tale, it's all about 68 centimeters. That's it. And I'm talking about space, not about something else. Um, we're talking just 2 feet. You could stand in the middle and touch both walls. So the question is, how did this small of space hold Mexico's greatest love story? This is a
Okay.
romance so epic and passionate, but yet so tragic that 100 years later, we are still talking about it. So let's go back to the beginning where it all started. You might kind of recognize this tale of woe, a kiss, a curse, star-crossed lovers, and a world bound to keep them apart. Now, those that know me know I'm a huge fan of Romeo and Juliet. So when I heard this tale, I was sucked in. So I cranked on my 90s Romeo and Juliet soundtrack and dove into this tale of young love and sorrow. So let's get started. We're going to meet Anna from a very rich, powerful Spanish family. And on the other side, meet Carlos, a poor miner with nothing to his name except his heart. Their love wasn't just a bad idea because of their backgrounds, it was impossible. And you can probably guess how this unfolds. They start meeting in secret, but of course they get caught. I remember when I dated my first boyfriend that my parents didn't like, and the thrill of sneaking around, even just to like wave at him. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. So, anyways, and you know, we were blessed. Okay, not in my high school days, we had pagers, but I mean, we're now blessed with like cell phones and stuff. These people didn't have anything. I mean, anyways, but they started meeting in secret, but of course they got caught. Her father is furious and locks her in her room, but Carlos has an incredible idea. Carlos realizes her bedroom balcony looks out onto this narrow alley with a window across from it. So what does Carlos do? He scraps together enough money, anything he can find because he's poor, and he rents the place right across from her. From his balcony and hers, they can touch, hold hands, and kiss. And this is how the alley is called now, the Alley of the Kiss. But,
Oh.
oh, it was ingenious. But also set the stage for the final tragic act. And this was the father's promise. Um, this was just so he promises that if they touch, if he ever sees him again, like he's gonna kill her. And I mean, what dad says that to their daughter? But anyways, um, and that was the father's promise. This wasn't just an angry threat. This was a serious, deadly vow. He discovers them meeting on the balcony and he lays down the law. If I see you with that man again, I will kill you. Anna's thinking her own father could never do such a thing. And she
Eh,
dies.
I think she overestimated him. The moral of
Yeah,
today's story is dicks.
dicks. I mean, yeah, I mean, the last story, Minnie's mom screaming, I'd rather see you dead than with this man. This
Yeah.
dad, I'm going to kill you if I see you with this man. Oh. So for a little while, their plan worked and they fell more and more in love. But fate, while bringing them together, also has a cruel plan in store. Hearing voices one night, her father rushes to Anna's door of her bedroom. Shoving it open, moving her housemate aside, he found her on the balcony, holding hands with her beloved. Now,
Oh,
they weren't doing the dirty, they weren't smooching, they were holding hands.
the horror.
The horror. Enraged, he drew the dagger from his sheath and stabbed her in the chest. Carlos is shocked and heartbroken, managed to plant a final kiss on her hand as she died. I I mean, okay. It was said that he stayed with her for a long time afterwards. Though why her father didn't try to kill him as well or take her body away, it's never mentioned or brought up. And I found it weird, like, he killed his daughter. Like, he didn't kill the boy.
Yeah. She's
I
the
don't
one who is bringing
defiant.
shame upon their home.
Yes. And so it says Carlos knew he couldn't live without her, his love. So he jumped down a mine shaft to his death one day at work. The father's fate is never recorded, but one can only hope that he faced the same kind of severe pain or justice or just demise. The place where the lovers meet is still a site for couples to visit. It has become a tradition for couples to go there and kiss on the third step of the stairway, and that leads up to the rest of the alley just below their balconies. So that is the tragic tale of our Capulet and our Montague, of Romeo and Juliet, or AKA Anna and Carlos. Or my favorite, Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes. But it's just, it's also said that if couples visit the alley and they neglect to kiss, they get 7 years of doom will come upon them in their romance. I think I'd be kissing everybody in sight just to pray that I don't have bad love life.
Yeah.
But
I just would like to point out, to help our listeners get to know us a little bit, as these episodes go on. Candi loves Romeo and Juliet, and I do too as a play. I think it's beautifully written. There's pieces of it that I memorized, and as a kid, I
yeah,
really loved it too. I love Shakespeare. But there's Candi, and then there's Jen, who will share the meme every time it comes up that says, yeah, it was about a 3-day affair between a 17-year-old and a 14-year-old that ended up in 6 people dying.
right? That was always my question. It was like, I always tell my husband, if we were Romeo and Juliet, I wouldn't drink the poison. I'm sorry. I love you. But someone's got to keep our memory going. But yeah. So I guess in ending, my thing is this Valentine's Day, light your candles and share your chocolates. Just remember to keep your wits about you and never let anyone convince you that true love requires the destruction of your authentic self. I mean,
Yes, I
you.
love that.
But I think the only thing that could lure me down a dark path is if Michael Myers showed up and said, well, he doesn't talk, but if he just tilted his head, I'd be like, bye, and I'd go with him. But
Yeah. I'd
I
probably
don't know.
get in a van with Ghostface if it was filled with
Right?
books.
Yeah, because it's Matthew Lillard or
Yeah,
Spanglish about that mask, so
if
I'd be right there with
there's
you.
a chance that it's Stu Macher, I'm getting in.
Right? Gosh.
Oh,
Well,
well, thanks for tuning in for this bonus, guys.
yes.
We've got more fun stuff in store, so please find us on social media, listen to us on whatever app you want. Check out our merch store, send us a case suggestion. Those words are really hard to say together. Case
suggestion. Make sure to, when you guys are listening to us, give us a thumbs up or let us know, suggestion, like Jen just said, suggestions on cases, but just some fun things for us to do, fun things.
Yeah, we've got some fun things coming up. Join us at the Bramer County Historical Society Paranormal Workshop, March 7th, for some spooky shit, man.
Yeah.
That building is haunted. I can't wait to get in there.
Yes, I'm excited. I'm just excited is my word today. Dixon excited. But it's not how
We shouldn't put them together.
Yeah. It's not that kind of Valentine episode. Anyways, I love it. Well, thank you everybody for listening. Enjoy your Valentine's Day, and if you see the lady in white, go the other way.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Later, witches.
Later, witches. Bye.